Hey everybody, it's Richard again. Tonight we're going to talk about mostly about the Honshu historical 14th century sword. It's in the title. But I'm also going to discuss a couple of the pieces that I don't think I've shown before, at least not here. So, kind of got to get the camera back. This is the Honshu one that we're going to be mostly talking about. But these three up here are from Cold Steel. So we got the Cold Steel Italian longsword, Cold Steel hand and a half, and the Cold Steel arming sword, the Man at Arms arming sword. Now, you notice the Man at Arms is usually got a blacked out blade. This one, I removed the blacking from the blade. I actually mostly used vinegar to do it, so it's not perfect. It's fine. I wish they would have offered a regular version instead of just the Man at Arms, but I do kind of like it with the blacked out pommel and guard. Anyway, this is the one we're actually here to talk about, but again, I figured I needed to diversify my collection. I had way too many Japanese-style replicas and not enough European swords, not counting my Lord of the Rings blades, because I don't necessarily consider those to be anything remotely historic. Obviously, they're fantasy swords. But this was the first one I bought, the Cold Steel hand and a half. It's a nice blade. This one's actually extremely sharp. Nice blade. My wife really likes this one. We keep it. Actually, these three we actually keep in the bedroom, but it's only for display purposes. Not like we don't think we're gonna fight any crazy. Well, anyway, whatever. The Italian long sword. If I have any criticisms, it would be I think the blade should maybe be just a couple inches longer and actually just come down to a fine point. I get why they didn't do that. Probably getting a consistent heat treat might have been an issue. I don't know enough about it, but that's my guess. I like the grips. I like the pommels. I like the furniture on here. Again, I like this one. It's maybe not quite as nice as the other two are, but these all have this pommel nut. They all screw on. This one does not. Now, the reason I got this, a couple reasons really. I was kind of in the market for it. Now, you'll notice this, I've kind of got them arranged, longest down to the shortest, but also the widest. Nice wide blade. So this is, of course, the Honshu 14th century replica. And what happened was, a couple weeks ago, I was watching Bram Stoker's Dracula, and I'm like, man, I really like the sword he's got in the beginning of the movie. I'd like a replica. I knew that they had made a replica, and I'm pretty sure that was made by Windlass. And Windlass, well, anyway, I looked into it, and the belief is that the one used on film was made by Del 10, and was a replica of a piece in the Met. And of course, the Windlass one is also a replica of the piece in the Met. They sell one with the Bram Stoker's Dracula packaging and backboard and whatnot. They also sell one that's just marketed as a 14th century sword replica from the one in the Met. Well, now Honshu did their version, and again, nothing to do with Dracula. It's just a replica of the one in the Met. And I gotta say, they did a really good job. Like, the peen on the pommel, the engraving on the pommel, the grip, the swept quillions. Gotta love the fuller in the blade. And even this, it's a wood core scabbard, fully leather wrapped. I've seen some criticisms where maybe the heat treating on the peen isn't always the greatest. I don't know. Look, my swords are all basically shelf queens. They sit there and just look pretty. It'll meet my needs 10 times out of 10. But this is what I got. And so, if you were a big fan of the movie Dracula from 1992, or maybe you just want a historical replica, consider getting this. The one criticism would be on the one in the film, they seem to have heated up the quillions and bent the tips forward just a tiny bit. Don't know if I'm going to go far enough to do anything like that, but I definitely like what I've got here. And now I've got to go put these up before my wife kills me for leaving them out on the table. You guys have a great evening, and I'll bring another video to you soon.